Sorry if a note's too sharp. Sorry if our voice is too raw. Don't make the pen a weapon and censor our intelligence until our thoughts mean nothing at all. Sorry if you take offense. You made up rules and played pretend. We know you fear change, it's something so strange, but nothing's gonna get in our way. There's no room for your backwards feelings and backyard dealings. We're never gonna settle, and no, we won't remain silent, no. It's our defining moment. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No, we won't be complacent. No, it's a rock and roll nation. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. Sorry if we try too hard to take some power back for ours. The language of oppression we lose to education until the words can't hurt us again. Sorry if you take offense. Silence will not make amends. The system's all wrong and it won't be long before the kids are singing our song. There's no room for your backwards feelings and backyard dealings. We're never gonna settle, and no, we won't remain silent, no. It's our defining moment. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No, we won't be complacent, no. It's a rock and roll nation. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No, we won't remain silent, no. It's our defining moment. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No, we won't be complacent, no. It's a rock and roll nation. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No, defining moment. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart. No. We sing from the heart. We sing from the heart.
Good evening, and welcome to APIA Voice, an evening of arts and activism. I'm Simon Tam. I'm part of the Slants and one of the founders of the Slants Foundation, and we are just so excited to be with you here tonight, talking about the power of our community and our voice. I just wanted to begin by acknowledging something that is happening across our country for those of us who've been striving towards a more just world. And that is acknowledging the passing of just a giant on whose shoulders we stand on, whose work we benefit from each and every day. And that's the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Supreme Court justice who has just done tremendous things to not only uplift the rights of women, but also of people of color as well. Because we know in this world that when you lift up the most marginalized, when you address the inequalities in our society, that everybody benefits. And as I've been reflecting on the passing of RBG this week, I can't help but remember a very specific moment when our paths briefly crossed. Now, I never got to meet Justice Ginsburg, but I was a part of her court. As many of you know, our band went to the US Supreme Court over the right to register our name. And I'll never forget that as we were in that courtroom and we had all these legislators just arguing about the nuances of trademark law, bringing in extreme metaphors of copyright law and everything else, she brought the room back to center. She paused the room when she spoke up and she said, "Doesn't it matter that the Slants are Asian? Everyone knows that they're not using the word to disparage, but to describe and to remove the sting from the word." And I just remember, like, I was a tremendous fan of hers before entering that courtroom. But that day I finally got it in a different kind of way, because not only did she just bring back common sense into our case, but in that moment, I felt seen. And I think millions of people around this country want to be seen. Her work just resonates throughout the activists around our country. And so tonight, we just wanted to honor that by acknowledging that our community has a responsibility, and it also has a privilege and an opportunity to continue that work by taking that moral arc of the universe, which bends towards justice, and bending it a little bit more. So tonight we're going to be hearing from an incredible slate of some of my favorite people, Asian American artists, actors, and elected officials talking about our community's power. But first, we'd like to kick it off with perhaps one of the most powerful voices I can imagine, and that would be the voices of first-time voters who are about to go to the ballots this fall.
I moved to America in 2011 with my family. Growing up in refugee camp was very challenging for me and my family. Refugee camp is not like a place where you can get free access to healthcare, education, careers, and it is not a place that you can call home. I was brought to America by my family for numerous reasons, primarily to find a better life, a meaningful career, and a place that values and rewards hard work. This is going to be my first time participating in the general election. I became a US citizen last year, and I am super excited to vote for the first time. In this upcoming 2020 election, I'm going to vote like I care about my future, my community, and this great land of freedom and opportunity. Voting is a great honor and also a great privilege to exercise my constitutional rights. I want to make sure my voice is heard, and most importantly, I want a leader that will fight for the people and stand up for the people. For those who are eligible to vote in November 3rd, I want you guys to show up at the polls or vote by mail. Please get up, get out, and vote. Thank you.
The 2020 presidential election will be the first election I'm allowed to vote in. One of the most defining characteristics of this country is that our right to vote is protected by the Constitution. It is important for citizens to utilize this right because it allows them to choose which people they see best fit for office, and the people they have chosen to serve for the government will dictate which direction this country is headed towards. I personally believe it is important to vote because there are a lot of major issues that need our attention. With the pandemic going on, a lot of racial injustices have come to light, and with all of the climate disasters, the natural disasters that have taken place, it is important to choose a candidate that is not only honest with the American people, but that will provide effective long-term solutions to protect this country. Although there is a lot of tension surrounding the 2020 election, I am very optimistic because the younger generation has realized that the agendas from the older generation do not line up with their beliefs. The younger generation has realized the power of their voice, and they are not afraid to express their opinions to not only protect the country they live in, but to create a better country and society for future generations to come.
In regards to the importance of voting, I think as citizens, and for me, I'm stepping into the role as, I wouldn't say I'm a fully formed, fully functioning citizen just yet as a student, but even still, I think it's important for every functioning member of a society to have their voice heard and accounted for so that they can feel that they are represented in the way that they're being governed. I'm excited in one sense, and also it all seems to converge on the weirdest year in recent history. So, but overall, I'm excited to get my voice out and have it heard. It's important to get your voice out there, and to just have a say in what happens to you, and to be a driver of your own destiny in a sense.
So thank you again for joining us tonight. And yes, if you are interested in taking action, if you want to learn more about making your voice counted and heard by taking the census and registering to vote, as well as getting information down to your specific address, finding out what's happening in your local communities, just go to theslants.org/voice to get information there. And now I would love to welcome Elisa Sun, one of my favorite folks, an indie Nashville musician who also is one of the founders of the Nashville Musicians for Change and one of the recipients of the Slants Foundation's Countering Hate with Art program, to share a couple of songs from her work with us tonight. So please give it up for Elisa Sun.
Thank you so much, Simon, and thank you to the Slants Foundation for having me. I'm going to start off with a song called Promises. This is a song I wrote in the midst of our current climate as just kind of a response. So here we go. Pavement is melting, the streets are mean. I've got a locked jaw and I can't help but grit my teeth, reading no way to unsee what I've seen. Drive a divide and hiding behind the screen. Starting a journey, awaken the beast. How is that table? When will you give up? Give up your seat and all this talk of change. But I know you're just trying to save face. You love to keep your birds in a cage. You make all your promises, but it don't mean a thing. Look at us turning to stone. Caught in a keyboard crossfire with nowhere to go. We're going backwards, we're vibing low. It's about time we got new blood. Out with the old. Starting a hunt, let's awaken the beast. How is that table? It's about time we build our own damn seat. And all this talk of change. But I know you're just trying to save face. You love to keep your birds in a cage. You make all your promises, but it don't mean a thing. We seem to have forgotten we were made up of stardust, baby, saying the same damn things, but light years away. We seem to have forgotten we were made up of stardust, baby, saying the same damn things, but light years away. You seem to have forgotten me. I'm made up of stardust, baby. I'm on my own, I'm fully grown, stronger every day. You're talking of change, but I know you're just trying to save your face. You love to keep birds in a cage. You make all your promises, but it don't mean a thing. You make all your promises, but it don't mean a thing. All right. So that's a song called Promises. I wrote that not too long ago. So it's not fully released anywhere yet, but stay tuned and I might be releasing it. And this next song is a song I wrote last year. And it's a song called I'm From Here. And it's about my experience kind of living living here, I'm from California, but I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and it was a tricky transition. And just kind of being a half Chinese American woman, it's kind of hard to feel like you have a place, and kind of feeling a little bit lost and having a community. So I've kind of struggled with that. But this is a song about that. So this is called I'm From Here. So that's how it feels. Nobody's team. You're the only one in the room, causing dis-ease. Veil's been drawn, but I don't want to see. Being blind before was safer to me. Now I don't want to go outside. The great divides never felt so wide. You want me to go back to where I came from. Oh, but I'm already home. My eyes tell the truth. I'm not like you. But I'm from here too. Mama just wanted to acclimate, and Daddy wasn't there. Made fun of my name in the second grade. I pretend not to care. Veil's been drawn, but I don't want to see. The dark was always safer to me. Now I don't want to go outside. The great divides never felt so wide. You want me to go back to where I came from. Oh, but I'm already home. My eyes tell the truth. I don't look like you. But I promise you I'm from here too.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was so incredible. And I just love how smooth your voice is. It's just unbelievable. What a powerful way to just kick off this event. So thank you for being here. You know, I was hoping that you could take a moment and just to kind of share, like, what does the election mean to you? I know you care a lot about this. I mean, you're the founder of the Musicians for Social Change here. So, like, what does it mean to you, especially for Asian Americans, to find that voice through our actions and through our vote?
Yeah, it means a lot to me that we get out the vote for this election. I think it's incredibly important to have leaders who are listening to the voices of people who might be unheard or unseen. And I think there's a lot of people in the entire country, just so many communities who are feeling unheard and unseen. And I think very much in the Asian American community, I think that's an experience that is pretty universal, to feel that feeling of invisibility. So I definitely feel, especially with RBG's passing as well, that it was just I organized a vigil this past weekend for her here in Nashville, and it was like just the impact that she had on so many people. It was truly amazing. So it made me really I'm still grieving, but having that that fire to fight for the things that RBG believed in, and a lot of the principles that our country was based off of, I think is really something to remember, is giving opportunity and supporting people who deserve to be heard.
Absolutely. And thank you for that fire. Thank you for sharing such an important message with the world. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you're actually one of the recipients of one of our grants. As we know, when the COVID started hitting, we just saw this incredible rise against Asian and Asian American discrimination, against racially motivated attacks, both verbally, as well as physically. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to do something to kind of not only use that fire to like raise this awareness about the issue, but we also want to do it in a way that elicited compassion. I think your song truly demonstrates that. And I'm just wondering if you could share with our viewers what that experience is like, and receiving the grant, and how other people can support you in your work as you continue to make more and more music.
Yes, thank you. I'm so grateful to have received the grant, and especially during this time where our country is really struggling in this pandemic. And you know, the response to it has been very much, in a word, just very chaotic. And I think it was a lot. It is still a lot to adjust to. And as far as that song, it was written from a place of really feeling a lack of a sense of belonging. And I think that was a big factor. And for the first time, feeling again, actually, I was talking about feeling unseen, but I kind of went to going from feeling unseen to being very seen, but in a very negative way, you know, because of a lot of the anti-Asian racism that was happening around the country, and just the kind of divides that are being created. So yeah, that's where that song came from.
Well, thank you. I know it's deeply personal, but as we know, some of that deeply personal art is what truly helps change hearts and minds in society. So thank you so much for your work. And for those watching, please follow at Elisa Sun Music. We also have her website showing up on the screen, elisasun.com. So thank you so much. And now we would love to show some videos from some of our friends, an author, Ed Lin, as well as actress Emily Chang.
Hi, I'm Ed Lin, and I'm a writer. I've let myself go a bit, but here's one thing I'm not letting go of: my right and obligation to vote in the election in November. And you should register today. Vote by mail or in person, because when you don't vote, it's not a good look.
Hey guys, my name is Emily Chang, and I'm an actor and a writer. I think all of us are feeling a little bit worn out right now with the state of the country. However, now is not the time to give up. Asian Americans can be the deciding factor in this election, not only for the president, but for over 25% of congressional districts in the country. And that's a lot. So make sure your voice is heard, because what you do and how you vote can affect the future of the Supreme Court. It can affect the laws and the policies that affect your family and your community. And that's very important to us. So go to theslants.org/vote. Make sure you're counted on the census, and make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure your voice is heard today.
And now I would like to welcome one of my former bandmates, well, I guess still current, Ken Shima, as well as his partner, Jessica. They have a duo that they are calling the Jess and Ken Island because, well, Shima is Japanese for island, and they have a couple of songs and an important message to share with you. So please give it up for Jess and Ken.
Cool. Thanks, Simon. Thank you to the Slants Foundation for letting this be our first debut live stream performance. So here we go with a couple songs for you. Hey. Oh. Hey. I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. Hey, so show me, family, all the blood that I will bleed. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where I went wrong. But I can write a song. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweet home. Hey. Oh. Hey. I don't think you're right for him. Think of what it might have been if you took a bus to Chinatown. I'd be standing on Canal and Bowery. She'd be standing next to me. I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart. I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart. Love, we need it now. Let's hope for some. 'Cause we're bleeding out. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweet hope. Hey. Oh. Last time. Hey. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hey, Jess and Ken here, and we're so happy to talk about being heard and counted. And the census count actually determines what happens for the next 10 years. And we have a chance to choose and change the trajectory and make it more inclusive. So let's use our voice for change. Yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of using our voices, right now, you know, we're pushing to vote, but past this, we still have a voice. And Jesse and I, we chose this song so that you use your voice and that you can feel brave. And so, and by Sarah Bareilles. You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be an outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle neath your skin. Trapped on the inside, no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Everybody see you. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been stared down by the enemy. England's fears, done some disappearing, bound down to the mighty. Don't run, stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of this cage where you live. Maybe they'll satellite lighting. Show me how big your brave is. Say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Innocence, your history of silence won't do you any good. Did you think it would? Let your words be anything but empty. Why don't you show them the truth and say what you wanna say? Just let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. What you wanna say? Just let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you be brave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whew. All right. Next up, thank you very much. Next up, we have a word from Representative Judy Chu.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu from Pasadena, California, and as the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or what we call CAPAC, I'm so pleased to be a part of today's incredible event. I am proud to be here today as a member of the most diverse Congress in history. We now have more women than ever before. We have more people of color than ever before, and we are more reflective of the country we represent than ever before. But this did not happen overnight. It happened because people like you have been getting involved in politics like never before. We saw that in 2016 with women's marches that mobilized people to fill the streets in every state. And we're seeing it again today with the Black Lives Matter protests and demands for criminal justice reform. And now each one of you has an opportunity to really determine the next 10 years or more of our country's future and to make sure that AAPI voices are a part of it. But in order to do so, I need you to do two things first. Complete the census and register to vote. First, the census. The Constitution mandates that every 10 years, every individual living in the U.S. is counted, regardless of their citizenship status, so that 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives can be allocated by state population. Unfortunately, certain populations, including people of color and children, have been undercounted in almost every census. This goes back to the very beginning of our nation's history when enslaved Black people were considered 3/5 of a person. But the undercounting of other communities like AAPIs has continued in other less explicit ways since then. That means that the ratio of representation in Congress is actually unequal across the country, and not everyone is represented fairly. Equal representation matters because it ensures we have a voice in Congress, but without an accurate census, the unequal status quo is maintained. The ability of Congress to act on major issues like police brutality, climate change, gun violence, and electoral reform in the coming years is largely dependent on the results of the 2020 census and ensuring that our Congress actually reflects the values of our country. This matters for more than legislation. The census also determines the Electoral College, which means that if your state is undercounted, you're giving another state a greater say in picking the president. Census data isn't only used to determine the allocation of congressional seats. It's also used to determine how federal and state funding is spent. Every single year, $1.5 trillion in funding for everything from schools to healthcare is allocated by the federal government based on census data. As we talk about how some communities are underfunded compared to other communities, we need to talk about the role of the census in determining where federal dollars are directed. If you read through any bill that Congress passes that includes large quantities of funding, you'll notice that the census gets mentioned over and over again. That's because we depend on that data to determine how we allocate funding among states. For example, the House of Representatives passed a massive coronavirus relief bill called the HEROES Act in May. That bill contained trillions of dollars in federal funding to help businesses, families, and our healthcare infrastructure survive the pandemic. The bill specified that the funding should be divided up proportionally among the states using census data. That means if we aren't accurately counting our communities, we are not going to be able to accurately meet their needs. Most states also use census data to determine how funds are allocated amongst different communities within a state. The end result is that communities with an undercount receive less funding per person for critical programs like education or housing than communities with accurately counted populations. This same process holds true for almost everything you can think of. Everything from road repairs to funding for hospitals is impacted by the results of the census. The census is particularly important for the AAPI community. Despite the model minority myth, AAPIs actually have broad and diverse needs, and the census is the single largest source of disaggregated data by ethnic group. That data is critical to informing our understanding of the dynamics and needs of the AAPI community. And so we need to ensure every AAPI is counted. But as I mentioned, our community has historically been undercounted, and it is happening again right now. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, it has been impossible for the Census Bureau to do the kind of in-person outreach that would typically be done. That means many households and communities of color are being missed completely, which will have serious repercussions. But you can help right now by making sure that you, your family, and everyone in your community has filled out the 2020 census. And you need to act fast. The Trump administration has been trying to undermine the census, and one of the things they've done is to move up the deadline. So you need to fill out the census before September 30th to ensure that you're counted. It is easy to do, and every answer is completely confidential. And I want to be clear, the information you give to the census cannot and will not be used for anything other than ensuring every person is counted and is represented, and that every community gets the resources it deserves. The other thing we need to do is to vote. For years, AAPIs were largely invisible in Congress, but all of that is changing now, and we've even become the deciding vote in some states. That's why I like to say that we've gone from being marginalized to the margin of victory. But that is only true if you make sure your voice is heard. So please, for the sake of our communities today and in the future, make sure you are represented. Fill out the 2020 census today, register to vote, and whether in person or through the mail, make sure you're using your voice at the polls. Together, we can ensure this is a country where all of us are represented and where we determine our own future. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Judy Chu. And now, live from Ohio, we have Ohio State Senator Tina Mahara. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Again, I'm State Senator Tina Mahara from the state of Ohio, and I don't think I can top off what Congresswoman Judy Chu has already mentioned, but I can mention that I am Ohio's first Asian American woman elected into the state Senate, and I need more people, more support, more people who look like us, who act like us in our local elected offices. And that is where the big question and the big situations of elections and census and everything else in between comes put into play. It's like what Representative Chu already mentioned. If we don't participate in census, we don't get fair districts, we don't get fair lines drawn, we don't get fair representation, and that in turn doesn't create a fair district for people like me running for office. In addition to that, not only do we need more people on the federal levels who look like me, who act like me, we also need that at the local levels. Here in the state of Ohio, I am only one of two Asian Americans elected officials in our General Assembly currently at this time. And I need more, because that way I need to feel more like I have a seat at the table. I need to feel like I matter. I need to feel like I have a power making decision at the table, because I belong here just as much as every one of my colleagues do too.
Thank you, Senator. Wow, thank you so much for representing us and people that look like me and us. Appreciate you.
Yes.
And next up, I'm proud to introduce a fellow board member of the Slants Foundation. Born and raised in Metro Detroit, Sue-Ann Xia is a Taiwanese-American musician, filmmaker, and an emerging theologian specializing in identity formation, racial justice, gender, and sexuality. Her first feature-length documentary, Quan Dao, premiered in fall 2016 in Nashville, Tennessee. Her debut solo album, a queer reclaimed hymns worship record, A Liturgy for the Perseverance of the Saints, came out in 2018. She is a wonderful, fierce advocate for justice, arts, and activism. Please, everyone, make some noise for Sue-Ann!
Thanks, Ken. I'm going to be performing 2 songs off of my album, and the first one I'm going to do is This Is My Father's World. I wanted to do this song because it talks a lot about the natural world, about the skies, about rocks and trees, and it's been on my heart a lot lately, seeing the news about the wildfires in the West and thinking about the way that I, as a Christian, feel a sense of responsibility to steward and to care for the earth. To me, that's just one part of the many areas of justice that, as a Christian, I feel called and compelled to. And we'll go from there. All right. This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings in round. him pass. He speaks to me everywhere. This is my Father's world. Oh, let me never forget that though the wrong seems off so strong, God is the ruler, yeah. That though the wrong seems oft so strong, God is the ruler, yeah. This is my Father's world. Why should my heart be sad? The Lord is King. Let the heavens ring. God reigns. Let the earth be glad. This is my Father's world. The battle is not done. Jesus who died shall be satisfied, and earth and heaven be one. Jesus who died shall be satisfied, and earth and heaven be one. The next song I'm going to sing is called Come Ye Sinners. And I think part of my journey as a Christian has been learning a lot about free grace, about how God doesn't really separate the deserving and the undeserving. That, like, for instance, it says, without money, come to Jesus Christ and buy. Come ye sinners, poor and needy, weak and wounded, sick and sore. To me, my faith teaches me that not to separate the deserving and the undeserving poor, the people who deserve healthcare, the people who don't deserve healthcare, right? I think that in our society, we have the resources, we have the capability to bestow these basic dignities to people. And my faith teaches me that, you know, to give freely, that is the grace of God. So I hope this song can be edifying for many people. Come ye sinners, poor and needy, weak and wounded, sick and sore. Jesus ready stands to heal you, full of pity, love and power. He is able, he is able, he is willing, doubt no more. He is able, he is able, he is willing, doubt no more. Come ye thirsty, come and welcome God's free bounty, glorify true belief and true repentance, every grace that brings you nigh. Without money, come stand by. Without money, come to Jesus Christ and buy. Come ye weary, heavy laden, bruised and broken by the fall. If you tarry till you're better, you will never come at all. Not the righteous, sinners Jesus came to call. Not the righteous, sinners Jesus came to call. Let not conscience make you linger, nor fitness fondly dream. All the fitness he requireth is to feel your need of him. This he gives you, 'tis the Spirit's rising beam. This he gives you, is the Spirit's rising beam. For some of those you just heard, I grew up in Metro Detroit in Michigan. And this year, as in many years, we know that Michigan and some other states in the Midwest are swing states, are very important swing states. In Michigan, Trump beat Clinton by 0.23%, or only about 10,000 votes. Now, there are almost 400,000 Asian Americans in the state, and only 161,000 are registered to vote. We could easily swing the election the either way, not only for the president, but also for the Senate. Some of you may know that there's a very important Senate race happening. Our current Senator, Gary Peters, a Democratic candidate, is against the DeVos Republican-backed candidate, James. Now, there's a lot riding on this, not just the president, but the presidential office, but also the Senate, which we're seeing is really, really important, especially for things like passing Supreme Court judges and other sorts of laws that have been up on the docket lately, as we've seen. I know that the Republican Party has done a lot to hurt Michigan by stripping away and dismantling our public school systems, as well as being responsible for the Flint water crisis. I say this as an individual and not as a board member of the Slants, but I think that the people of Michigan have suffered under Republican leadership. And I really hope that my home state, where I will be voting, will swing blue this year. Next, we're going to be joined by Other Tones, a very good friend of mine named Aman Nadeem. And Aman is from Wisconsin, where we we have often bonded over being Asian Americans who grew up in the Midwest. And we never felt that we were necessarily represented or seen as a part of it, but Asian American communities are a huge part of the Midwest. In Wisconsin, in 2016, Donald Trump carried the state by 22,748 votes, which is less than 1% of the overall vote. And it was essential for him to win Wisconsin in order to win the Electoral College. Now, Wisconsin's percentage of Asian, American Pacific Islanders, and Native Hawaiians of voting age is just 1.6%. So that still comes in around 69,530 voters. So that's more than 3 times the number that gave Trump his win. Yeah. I'm going to hand it over to Mon to share some songs, but also, represent the Midwest Asians.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sue-Ann. I loved watching your performance. And I think it's really cool that we get to talk about this together. So this song, the first one that I'm going to do is called The Things I Won't Say. My name is Iman, and my artist name is Other Tones. I just dropped an EP a few days ago called Rekindle, and this is one of the singles off that EP. So this is The Things I Won't Say. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, and I co-wrote this with Sue-Ann, by the way. I've got something to tell you. No, wait. I got something to tell you. Can I have a minute, please? I got something to tell you. Can you promise you won't leave? I got something to tell you. Time is never right. You can run, you can hide, you can try, you can fight, but you'll always catch up to the lies. Say that I was wrong. The words came too soon, or I waited too long, but I did what I did to survive. I've got something to tell you. I got something to tell you. No, wait. I got something to tell you. Can I have a minute, please? I got something to tell you. Can you promise you won't leave? I got something to tell you. Play it out in my head. I can't keep pretending it's my happy ending when the worst case just comes out instead. For better or for worse, I've got to figure it out. I've got to figure this out. I'm so damn tired of having nothing left to say, of hiding in my silence and counting my days. If I lose it all, it's my choice to make. But I got something to tell you. Won't you listen? Won't you listen? Something to tell you. And does it matter if I've got something to tell you. Don't throw it away for the things I won't say. But this road is going nowhere, and the light is fading out here. I've got nothing to tell you. I've got nothing to tell you. I've got nothing to tell you. Just keep walking, just keep going, 'cause I've got nothing nothing to tell you. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, that song was called "The Things I Won't Say." And this next tune is another upbeat one, a little happier though. It is called "Pulse." I'm going to talk about the meaning of this song a little bit with Sue Ann because she co-wrote this song with me as well. I think it's a really special one. It basically is kind of is like a letter to those that were affected by the shooting in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub. And this song is just basically a letter of how we can keep our hope high, that when we band together, we're more powerful as one. So here we go. The song is called Pulse. I know you're made to feel that you're invisible, that someone else has written out your life for you. I know you're made to fear that no one's listening, unworthy, with everything to lose. Hold on to your reasons to stay alive. Be who you are, 'cause you have the right to wake up one day and see the other side. Another day, another battle, another chance to lift our voices. Oh, 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 oh. Let the weight go, break the shackles. Don't look back, there's no time to waste now. Oh, 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 oh. Our hearts are one. Some will go and some will stay. Can't control them anyway. Just know that you will never be alone. Some days you'll be breaking down, and your heart is the only sound, a Christian pulse that will always lead you home. So cast off your burdens and join the fight. Stronger together, the end's in sight. Yeah, we'll wake up one day and see the other side. Another day, another battle, another chance to lift our voices. Oh, 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 oh. Let the weight go, break the shackles. Don't look back, there's no time to waste now. Oh, 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 oh. Our hearts are one. Another day, another battle, another chance to lift our voices. Let the weight go and break the shackles. Don't look back, there's no time to waste now. Another day, another Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Iman. I wonder if you could share a little bit about the relationship for you between art and activism.
Yeah. So basically, I think I've always really wanted to be involved in activism, honestly, since a young age. I think my experience as a second generation immigrant has been shaped by, you know, a really strong Pakistani American community that I grew up with in the Milwaukee area. And my parents, you know, had us really involved in, you know, like we went to Islamic school when we were growing up and everything too. And I think I always just had a lot of pride in where I came from. And so basically, I mean, when I was in, I think in high school, there was kind of like a turning point for me where things started to mean even more to me than I had really thought that they already did. There was a time where the Muslim community in my hometown in Brookfield, which is outside of Milwaukee, they wanted to, you know, create or build a mosque in my hometown. And I, you know, I grew up in a post 9/11 world. I was 5 years old when that happened. And so I was aware that, you know, there was definitely some tension around things like building mosques. But I don't think our Pakistani community recognized just how much of that lived in our own backyards until there was so much backlash about that mosque being built, which, by the way, though, as we banded together and, you know, voiced our you know, our right to have that mosque there at all of the town halls, we packed them up and came together as a community. And I think that was a moment where I was like, wow, I think I can do this too. I think you know, I was becoming an adult at that time, and it was kind of a moment for me where I realized just the impact of the voices of our community. So I think now what I want to do with Other Tones, the whole idea of the project now is to basically give voice to those that are not heard, and basically to those people that are othered in their daily lives, to make them feel like they have a sense of belonging and that they deserve to be heard. So yeah, I believe that that's the way that it kind of ties together.
Thanks. I know that when we wrote Pulse together, it was from this place of feeling really isolated and vulnerable and alone. And through coming together to write and also to create this song, I know that both of us are hoping that many people out there will know that their voice matters, to know that they're not alone. And even more so, I know that for both of us growing up in places there weren't a lot of Asian Americans, and then going into the music world with we had even less community and representation, how valuable and encouraging it has been for us to hear each other speak and to have each other's voices in our lives. But I know that we hope that there'll be more to come, that it's not just going to be us holding down the Asian American Midwest fort, but more people that come too. And I really hope that the Asian American vote gets out there, as well as participating in the census. Thank you, Iman, for joining us tonight on this event. And I'm going to hand it over to Simon.
And thank you so much, both of you, for performing and sharing your art with us. Now, those of you who know me personally know that I recently moved to the state of Ohio. So it is a great honor and pleasure to be introducing one of our incredible state representatives in the Ohio House, who is doing an incredible job serving our communities. Please welcome Representative Stephanie House.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh, good evening. Good evening. So good evening, everyone. I am Representative Stephanie House, and I have the honor of representing Ohio's 11th House District, representing Cleveland, Garfield Heights, and Newburgh Heights. And I am, like, first of all, Iman, she had a beautiful, beautiful voice. So I was over here jamming, you know, as she was letting us hear her vocals with the guitar. Just really wanted to give on this National Voter Registration Day. I really want to also just highlight a little bit about the census. I know Suwan was just talking about the census. As we know, this is something that we have to do to get our count. It is vitally important when we think about the resources that come back into our community. Those of us in the Cleveland area, we got a little bit of ways to go to showing up and being represented and making sure that we're fully counted. We're only at like 50%, and we have a couple of more days. So anybody that you know, please encourage them to go online. If there is a census someone that works for the census that comes to your home, open the door. Again, this information is definitely confidential, and it's very, very important when we think about the federal resources, specifically for those that are in our Medicaid systems, when we're talking about SNAP, or food assistance, transportation resources, everything that the government has, basically, that's money that comes back to our community. And I know, as we have definitely been impacted by COVID-19, the resources are definitely needed. So let's make sure that we show up and get counted. In addition to that, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about specifically about voting. You know, we have 42 days left, and not only is voting our voice, it really helps for us to have influence, right? Influence in the direction that we want to go in. For those, our brothers and sisters in the AAPI community, I know that there's a lot of things that, you know, we have to continue to work on to invest in small businesses. When we think about having systems in place to be protective of people, we know a lot of the discrimination and you know, just not neighborly, and even sometimes be abusive of language and actions that have come upon our communities within this COVID-19 pandemic. You have to have people in places that are going to speak up and speak out, and beyond that, actually put policies in place that can combat it. So again, 42 days, I would just encourage everybody to, here in Ohio, have a voting plan. And a voting plan is just easily making sure that you know how you're going to vote, when you want to vote, and making sure that you can do it in a safe way. So make sure you're registered to vote. You can do that by going online to iwillvote.com and choosing if you're going to early vote, whether that's in person at your local county board of elections. If you are going to vote by mail, you have to complete your application, wait for your ballot to come to you, and then you have the option to put it back in the mail or drop it down in a drop box down at your county board of elections. And then if you want to wait to the last day on November 3rd, you can do that as well. But we really, really would encourage you to vote early. So again, I'm really, really excited to have an opportunity to come listen and hang with everyone this evening. National Voter Registration Day. I know a lot of times we would be in person, but this virtual experience still gives us the opportunity to lift up the voices, to enjoy each other's companies, and really party with a purpose. So again, thank you all so much for welcoming me. And I really look, if there's anything that I can ever do for you, please know that I'm always a phone call, a direct message on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. So thank you so much for having me this evening.
Thank you so much for joining us, Representative House. I mean, it is so important to have people who understand our community's needs, who are just a phone call or a DM away. So, I mean, that's the power of our community. We have the opportunity to not only put people in office, but to hold them accountable. And I am so grateful to have a public servant who is there, willing to hear the needs of the community. And now we would love to welcome one of our partners for this event, Asian Services Action. From Asia, Ohio, is Elaine So. So please give it up. You know, Elaine, when I landed here in Ohio, I think I was here for a whopping 3 days before I reached out to you. I don't think I even moved into the house yet. I was just so excited to find organizations who represented and who could serve the Asian American community in a culturally competent manner, who understands what that actually means. And I'm so grateful to have found your organization. So I'm hoping you can share with our viewers a little bit about what Asian Services in Action does and why you chose to partner with us for this special event tonight.
Thank you so much, Simon. It is truly an honor to be here this evening on National Voter Registration Day. I'm so proud to represent Asian Services in Action and so proud to represent Ohio. So Asian Services in Action is a organization that was founded in 1995. So we're turning 25 this year. And we serve immigrants and refugees. You know, immigrants and refugees really build communities. And we are here to support immigrants and refugees and help them to thrive in this country. Across the state of Ohio, there are over 300,000 AAPIs living in the state, and over 150,000 are eligible to vote. So I don't know if you take a look at my shirt. I just want to make sure that everyone who is eligible to vote is participating in this most important election this year. Additionally, there's approximately 35% of the Asian American voting population that has actually not declared a party affiliation. So there's enormous opportunity to provide voter education, because that's nearly 50,000 eligible AAPI voters who have not designated a party, and we can truly mobilize and motivate these voters. Asian Services in Action provides not only social services, but we have an international community health center. And through both of those arms of the organization, we have been promoting civic engagement, whether that is through the census or through voter registration efforts. We are currently, throughout the pandemic, we've remained open as a provider of essential services. This past weekend, I had an opportunity to participate in a tabling event outside of a ethnic grocery store, and I met a little boy who actually is a huge motivator for me to continue this push towards making sure that everyone is counted and that our future is brighter. This little boy, his family was completing the census, and he's probably 6 or 7 years old. And, as I looked into his adorable face, I, just felt just how important it is to make sure that the future of our country is brighter and better for little boys like him, and little girls, who I didn't encounter, but little boys and little girls across the state and across this country.
And that's something we're definitely so grateful for you. I know that one of the things I appreciate about having organizations like yours is that I think, to be clear to folks, that you don't just serve the Asian American community. And the thing is, when you serve populations that are vulnerable, that have been overlooked, when you bring justice to those who need it the most, everyone gets to benefit from that all. Like when there are laws passed about equal rights for women, men benefit from that as well. When laws are passed to benefit communities of color, we know, non-POC benefit from that as well. And I know as we started chatting about possibly holding an event around National Voter Registration Day, you were so great to remind me that it's not just about the election, it's also about the census, and that it was such a critical part of this. So much attention is focused around who is the president. But when it comes to the day-to-day effects of government and our communities, that's so much more than that. It's about those local ballots. It's about getting counted for the census as well. So I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about why the census matters and how you see the effects of the census in your work as you work to serve communities.
Yeah, so the census is completely what determines the allocation of, over $1 trillion in federal funds. That provides allocation for all the programs that support the community. Additionally, from a voter engagement perspective, it affects redistricting. So, depending on the population that is counted in the census, that determines the voting districts. And we definitely want to make sure that we get allocated, proper representation across the state and across the electorate. Additionally, Asian Americans are the fastest growing population, and I was looking at some population information recently, and saw that there are doubling, tripling of Asians across the state of Ohio. So I really can't wait to find out the results of the 2020 census. So therefore, I really encourage everyone, even if you have completed the census, please encourage all of your friends, family members, anyone in your sphere of influence to complete the census. We only have until September 30th to submit our census questionnaire.
Yeah, and as a reminder to folks, you can get counted for the census. Even if you can't remember if you actually did it or not, you should just go ahead and check. We have a link to everything at theslants.org/voice. And again, there you can not only get information about the census, you can register to vote. You can request an absentee ballot if you don't want to vote in person and you want to check in if you can qualify for that in your state. And if you want to figure out what issues are going to be on the ballot beyond the president for your specific area, what's going to affect your community, you can go in there, find out information about that, put in your address, and have that all delivered to you. So that's at theslants.org/voice. Being a new resident of Ohio, I'm just learning more and more about the area. But one of the things that you hear about Ohio so often is this term, swing state, that we have the opportunity, we have the privilege, and maybe the responsibility of helping to determine who is going to be in that presidential seat. And so I wonder if you could speak a little bit to this, because I feel like when it comes to our community, it is almost like we're like double swing votes, right? As you mentioned, we are the fastest growing community in this country, and our population has enough of a percentage of the population in about a quarter of the elections in this country. We could swing up to 25% of the seats in Congress right now. So what does it mean to you, and why is it so important for our community to really get involved with this upcoming election?
Yeah, so I'm someone who has grown up in the Midwest, and it has been especially challenging when unlike the coastal states that have perhaps larger populations of Asians, in the Midwest, there is definitely a stark reminder of the smaller percentages in the electorate. But in a state like Ohio, where 1/3 of the Asian American eligible to vote population has not identified a particular party, that's really a huge opportunity to make a state like Ohio, which leans Republican, but currently, as of this morning when I checked, the polls reflected a very, very small margin between the two parties, Republican and Democrat, running in the race for president. So that provides a huge opportunity for our community to come out and affect the results of the at least the Ohio election. So I hope that everyone will go out and vote, and make sure that everyone else that they know that is eligible to vote will go out and vote, because like my shirt says, enough is enough. Vote.
Thank you so much, Lane, for joining us tonight. And for folks who want to support the important work of Asian Services in Action, you'll see a link at the bottom of this. Just go to asiaohio.org. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
And now I would love to welcome one of my favorite people on this planet. He is such an inspiring poet, a rapper, an artist who speaks healing and justice in a broken world. And I can't tell you how many times, just by being his friend on Facebook, has an incredible poem just appeared, a piece of spoken word art that has appeared in my feed that speaks directly to the needs of this country. He's responsive. He has his pulse on what is happening with our communities. I'm talking about none other than rapper Jason Chu. So please give it up for Jason as he's going to perform and share some of his art with us tonight. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's great to see you. It's great to be here. Everybody, you know, it's really nice to see y'all. Hope y'all good out there. It is a wild time in our country, but together with dope people. Shouts to Elaine, Asian Services in Action, Asia, Ohio. You know, my sister lives in Columbus, actually. So double shouts to the OH10. Exactly. That's a very, very crucial state, y'all, especially if you're in Ohio. Please register. Please get your voices heard. Shouts to Simon. Shouts to the Slants Foundation. Shouts to our homie Joe behind the boards. Without further ado, this is a record that I put out this last summer. It's the first single off my album, which is out now everywhere on Spotify, on Tidal, on YouTube, wherever you want it. Living Room is the album. This one's called Honor. Yeah, hey. Yeah. Sorry, man. Hey, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Happen. That's part of art. This is
you know this.
It's proof that it's not pre-recorded. It's real.
This road NT1A been through a lot. All right, let's get it going. Honor, off of the album Living Room. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, let's go. Shouts to the Slants. Shouts to the Slants Foundation. Shouts to Uzuhan. Let's go. From gold skin to cinnamon, green cards and citizens, airless university scholarships and immigrants, dark hair and irises, young without college and whatever we playing at, you know we be killing it, humble but dominant, grew up in acrobat, flip from laundromat to graduate to diplomat, called Chinaman by the ignorant, the wise they call them gentlemen, y'all know what time it is, I love my people, how we haggle at the markets, take a family vacation to the outlets, eating out, it's not a question if we're gonna split, or if anyone takes the last portion, no, I love the smell of salt and sweet, gold in the air like the sun off the beach, I love the stories that make us so unique, you can copy the food, but the soul is out of reach, cause it's an honor, yeah, let's go, man, shouts to Emmy, Sandra O, Root and blue collar, they come, became martyrs. Honor to all the mothers and fathers and daughters, sons of back kitchens and liquor stores and corners, dollar cabs, massage parlors and fruit farmers. Grew up with no role models and no stories. Learn to use tongues and brains in due order. War they called on us, the left is war torn. It's no surprise we cut borders but not corners. And they treat my father like he's still a tourist, but they got no problem buying Sony or a Taurus. Hypocrites. I'm learning to ignore them cause the obstacles they gave us only taught us how to flourish. Artesia to Tyson's Corner, the streets of Flushing, Plano. Yeah, my people's gorgeous. Sky is the limit since Bruce broke the boards. I know no bamboo could ever hold us underwater. It's an honor. Yeah. Let's go. Yo, I hope y'all feeling very good out there. What's up, Elisa? Yeah. Word. So that record, again, that one's called Honor. It features Uzuhan. It's off my last record, Living Room, which, you know, a lot of our friends, shout out to the Slants Foundation for, you know, really supporting the music, supporting the love. I got a little bit more music. I got one more kind of a sneak preview for those of y'all who are tuning in. Stephanie, what's up, homie? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It's really nice and unexpected to see you in the audience. So today is National Voter Registration Day. If you aren't registered, make sure to register to vote. This is such a crucial election. If you are, hit up your cousin. I'm going to be real. I haven't talked to my cousins. I don't know. My cousins might not be registered to vote. I should probably text my cousins. If you haven't texted all of your cousins, text your cousins. But we're going to get into a little more talking. We got a little bit more convo coming out. But as the scroll on the bottom of the screen says, I got a little record to debut for y'all. A lot of people might not have heard this. You know, I've been playing this on some of my live streams, but this one's brand new. Thank you, Elisa, son. I really appreciate that. This next record is called All You Can Eat. The world premiere is on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's going to be out on all DSPs on Monday. But just because y'all care about APIAs having a voice, just because y'all care about getting out the vote, I'm going to give y'all a little sneak preview. This is the new record. It's called AYCE, All You Can Eat. Comes out next Monday. I'm going to perform that one. Shouts to my boy Matthew Jameson, good brother of mine out in St. Louis, who produced this. Shouts to the whole team. Shouts to Rob. Shouts to Aries. Shouts to Fictitious Professor, GGE Media. This one is called All You Can Eat. Hope y'all enjoy this. Right. Lights on. Heat up. Take away nothing. Bring up. Oh. Sorry, that one was the wrong version of it because I'm in GarageBand. This is how it goes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? This is a fun day. It's been a fun, busy day to try to make things. All right, let's take a listen. Here's the right version. All You Can Eat. Lights on, heat up, take away nothing, bring up, people chase money, we run. All right, I don't know. Hey, it's not working. This is all the super duper fun of doing music over the internet. But I got a backup. Fortunately, I got it locked and loaded. Give me one quick second. Again, this one's called All You Can Eat. This one comes out next Monday. Heat up, take away nothing, bring up, paper chase money, we run, off of everything you can heat up. With my DJ at the table called the priest, yeah. When it's not a famine, then we call a feast, yeah. Fly, walk, crawl, even from the beach, Cantonese, it's all on the menu, even at the seats, yeah. Crocodiles on feet like the liquor fit, working on my face with the shoes, I stretch, fake news, gossip. Would you do the right thing without it trending as a topic? Hey, from Rock like Tim's, Space Jam dunks on. I'm watching The Last Dance, don't pause revolution while executing the movement. Still tap dance over culture vultures making jazz hands. Flashback, I was 23 wearing the black red scratch that they turned in Chicago into Baghdad. Tax money that they used to fund all of the fascists. No surprise we take it to the streets, fucking a hashtag backpack. Got a gas mask and a bullhorn, fast track on the front lines. What are you on? Smash that. Then they use the image as an asset. Protest pics turn ads for a cash grab. They driving Benzes while these aunties use a bus pass. They gentrifying Chinatown where all the ducks at. They busting kids away to districts where the funded public schools don't even got a lunch plan. Multiple choice, but no right ones. Backpacked in the trunk when the time comes. Douglas said, POC, you better buy guns. Funny how the NRA only protect the white ones. K-pop bottle with the mask on, yeah. KTV when the track run. Respect to China, Mac, Gingy, Ruby, Ibarra, Neck Market, Charming, Juno, Allen, Z, and Bohan. Lights on, heat up, take away nothing, prenup, paper chase money, we run, off of everything you can eat up. Lights on, heat up, yeah, take away nothing, prenup, hey, paper chase money, we run, yeah, off of everything you can eat up. Cool. So again, that was my new record. Hey, Ansam, what's up, homegirl? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. You know, it's dangerous out there. Keep your mask on. Stay safe. Stay healthy. That's so cool. It's really dope to see a bunch of friends tuning in on the stream. Again, hope everybody's mobilizing to vote. This is such a crucial election. I'm gonna be real. I'm not a Gen Z. I'm a millennial, so I'm pretty old now. And this is definitely the wildest election we've seen. So, Simon, thanks so much for, always using your platform, bro. I know we're going to do a little Q&A bit right now. So let's get in.
It's funny because you're talking about our generation. I think, we got that Asian blood. We look young.
That's true.
We look young.
That's true.
But I think we've had this conversation a couple of times that it feels like we're of a different generation of artists. So we were kind of around as bubbling up of all these incredible Asian American performers that are now coming onto the scene. So it's really cool to see that happening. And one of the things that I appreciate is that you've got years and years into this. You've been there. You not only have you been stable and repping the Asian American community, but you've also been talking about the importance of how our struggles intersect with that of other communities as well. We know that there's a lot of social unrest on the streets right now. And I know you got an incredible spoken word piece about this in particular, but can you take a moment to talk about why Asians for Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, man. To me, there's so many reasons. For one, just, there's this old saying, right, in activist circles, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, right? Injustice for someone is injustice for everyone. Yo, shouts to Matthew Jameson Barry. What's up, homies? Good to see y'all. Matthew actually produced All You Can Eat. And I think importantly, Matthew lives in St. Louis, right? So I remember our communities. You can't pretend like our communities aren't intertwined, right? I remember 3, maybe 4 years ago, flying out to St. Louis to do gigs out there. And just realizing, you can't pretend like issues that impact one community don't touch the others. So to me, they always say no person is an island. But I think for me, what so much of it is, no community is an island. You know what I'm saying? If Bruce Lee carves out space in America, that means young Black and Hispanic kids learn self-defense, right? If Run DMC gets a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that opens the door just another centimeter wider to the slants getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? And so since our communities are so intertwined, we're so interlaced, of course, we can always just say, hey, forget you. What makes you bleed don't make me hurt. But that's just not true. Because, you look at the way our communities, you look at the way that our country, you look at the way that this world works. And, I'm not going to spew vulgarities on your stream, Simon, but I'm going to just say the crap overflows. You know what I'm saying? I lived in a kind of, I lived in the hood. And if my neighbor has roaches that the management company doesn't take care of, that means we all got roaches that the management company ain't taking care of. You dig what I'm saying? And so to me, there's so much injustice going on. It always affects the more marginalized first. And so all of our POC communities, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about queer folks. I'm talking about trans folks. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about POC. I'm talking about everyone, right? We got to come together because we can't pretend like what's hurting me isn't eventually going to hurt you and vice versa. I'm never going to pretend like, the way they treat the Black community don't roll out to impact the Hmong and the Vietnamese. And I mean, just right now, there's a story making the rounds about, I think, a Hmong or a Mien inmate who was a firefighter, right? He's an inmate firefighter, and then got snatched up by ICE and went straight from fighting fires to being held in detention, right? And if you don't see how that goes hand in glove with the issues that are going on for the, Latinx, Latina communities, you don't see how that goes hand in glove with the way that they're criminalizing and objectifying Black bodies in prison, then to me, that just means you don't know how to put 1 and 1 together and say it's 2. You know what I'm saying? So to me, to say Black Lives Matter does not exclude any of the other unique struggles, especially of our Asian American community. What it says is we got skin in the game. You know, literally, the Asian American community, we got our skin in the game. We get how this system works. And we know that as long as they keep doing this to our Black sisters and brothers, they may do it in a different way to our people. But as long as structurally these things are permitted to continue, that it's going to bubble over and it's going to overflow. And, you know, the roaches just spread like that, bro. That's how I'm seeing it.
Absolutely. And I think that as you're mentioning it, well, hey, if you got a roach problem, if your neighbor has a roach problem, part of your responsibility of living in the building is reporting it to management. And maybe if management sucks, kicking them out. And this is why this election matters, because if you've been unhappy, and look at what's happening in the world around us, over 200,000 dead because of the coronavirus, mismanaged by our leadership, over countless others gunned down by the state without trial, without due process, folks who are unarmed, gunned down, murdered in the streets by the state. Like, is this the kind of community that we want to live in? Of course not. So just as the issues intersect with us and the Asian American community, well, so does the responsibility, so does the onus, so does the opportunity to make change happen. And so I just want to remind folks that, you know, this is why it matters to get registered, to get counted for the census, to register to vote, to get on it early, because we know that some folks are going to be doing everything in their power to make sure that our voices aren't heard. But you get in early, you get that absentee ballot, you get informed of the issues, and you vote, and we start making things change. We start bending that moral arc of the universe a bit more towards justice. So I appreciate you sharing that. Now, one of the other things that I'm hoping you can share your experience with is, you and I have been working on the arts fronts for many different years in a couple different circles, but we recently had our circles intersect when right about the time we were launching our program, Countering Hate with Art, you were about to release an album, Living Room. And so we kind of synced up together so that we could help support your effort in this, because we believed in responding to hate in this world using art. Can you talk a little bit about how you see art and activism tied together, and what it was like to be a part of that program?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was just a huge honor, first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? I feel like anytime that in this big, loud world of ours, someone, hey, Ronnie, what's up, my guy? Shouts to Ronnie Chang, fresh off his, little stint at the Emmys, little ceremony at the Emmys. Anytime that somebody in this big, cold, loud world of ours takes notice of someone else, spends seconds of their precious life to notice you, that's amazing. So, I'm very, very thankful, first and foremost, that y'all reached out to me when I was putting together this record, Living Room. And the idea basically was, it's so easy as artists to just measure everything we do as analytics, right? Oh, this got X number of views. This got Y number of plays. This is, monetizing this way. What's up, Trigger? I see you, fam. And so to me, the really crucial piece of this was that, I wanted to create something that spoke with art as a way to connect people, right? Not just as a way to see certain numbers go up or down, but as a way to create music that gives people an experience of connecting, whether that's with me as an artist and as a creator, or whether that's with, we've been running these live shows called the Living Room Sessions, where we have a small group of people get together and we essentially create the experience of a house show with my band here. That's my music director, Paul, and our other roommate, Jeremy. What's up, Don? And the whole idea is, I think before my mentor, Craig Taubman, he's this legendary Jewish musician. He always said, before you love your neighbor, you have to know your neighbor. And to me, that's so crucial. That so often these days, we're just taking in content, right? We're not looking side to side and saying, hey, how are other people feeling? What are other people doing with this? We're just cramming content down our gullets. And what's so crucial to me and so powerful, and that's why I'm so glad that we were able to work together on this project, launching this project in particular, is because it has all been motivated and inspired by using art to foster empathy, right? Countering hate with art. And for me, and I see a lot of my friends tuning in. I see Alan Z, I see Ronnie Chang, I see Trigger, the homie. I know a lot of my friends out there, Dawn, y'all are all artists. And in the end, we don't exist just to say, hey, look at us, right? We exist to look at the people out there and to connect together. So that's what the Project Living Room has been about. That's why it's been really beautiful to create together. I'm always inspired by what the Slants, what Simon, you as a human being, what the Slants Foundation is doing. And it's been really great to continue this journey of art and community together, brother.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, for sharing your art. For those who are interested in hearing about the other projects that the Slants Foundation has supported through the Countering Hate Grant, you can go to theslants.org/counteringhate. We also have other programs, like our mission is to empower artists and activists, especially in the API community. So if you're an artist, whether you're a musician, a poet, a writer, a dancer, filmmaker, or anything else that is looking to speak some justice into this world using your work, please let us know. We're here to provide mentorship and financial resources. We're here to do everything that we can to support you. And we're actually going to be launching a new program very soon, an artist think tank, where folks can get together to network, to have their questions answered, the problem solved, and to be connected to the right places. This is all going to be free. And if you're just watching, or if you just want to partake in supporting artists in this effort, you can go to theslants.org/donate to support our work. We are 100% volunteer driven, so 100% of the money goes directly to artists like some of the ones you've seen earlier tonight, like Jason Chu and Elisa Sun. So up next, I would love to show some videos from an indie artist out of Nashville, Tennessee, Ariel Bowie, who served with us for some time. She has a song and message to share. And then we have a word from actress Minji Chang.
Closet of her mind, all his decisions folded like rags that time has made it live and streak through the rain.
Hi, my name is Ariel, and I want to thank the Slants Foundation for putting on this event and for including me in their mission to promote Asian American representation and racial equality in politics and the arts. The song you just heard was called Appraisal, and it is set to a poem written by Sarah Teasdale in the late 20s, early 30s, right around the time Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born. It's a song about female empowerment and love, and also about understanding that no one is perfect, even when we choose them. As you may know, there is a very important presidential election coming up November 3rd, 2020, and even though there may not be any perfect candidates, it is so important that we still stand up and make our voices heard anyway. There are so many barriers that exist to making our voices heard, and so many systems that are in place to marginalize and oppress minorities like Asian Americans, Native Americans, Latinx, and LGBTQ folks, immigrants, women, and Black Americans. We have to claim the right to be counted in the census, learn about the issues, registering to vote, and voting. We have to claim our rights by doing those things. And in my eyes, it's simply not an option to allow the current leadership to remain in office and for systemic violence against anyone for any reason to continue. We have to do whatever it takes to fight for what's right.
Hey everyone, I'm Chang. I'm on the board of directors for Collaboration, which is a nonprofit to discover, connect, and elevate Asian American artists. I'm also an actor, filmmaker, and the host of First of All podcast. I just want to stop by and say hi, and thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for caring and for showing up. And I'm here to ask you face to face with all the love and passion in my heart to please fill out the 2020 census and register to vote. We have been grossly underrepresented as an Asian American community, and by participating in the 2020 census, which only happens once every 10 years, we are going to make sure that the billions of dollars in federal funding get allocated to our community, to our needs, and to our issues. Now, we also know that this is an incredibly important year to vote. We need to hold power accountable. We need to make sure that our voices and our needs and our issues are brought to the surface and addressed. And this is just such a critical time for our society, for humanity, for the climate. Please just make sure to participate, because Asian Americans have historically been so underrepresented when it comes to civic participation. So talk to your friends. I know it can be kind of awkward and uncomfortable. I personally didn't participate as much as I would have liked to, and I didn't know a lot of things. So it's really important that we get educated, that we have conversations where we help each other and encourage each other and can hold each other accountable, because a word from a friend or family member is going to be a lot more impactful and influential than some random stranger like me talking to you. But in any case, I'm glad to be here with you now. I'm glad that we could have this little chat. And thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And let's all raise up our community together. Happy voting.
So again, if you're interested in getting more information about getting counted for the census, registering to vote, getting information about what issues are on the ballot for your area, go to theslants.org/voice, because this whole event, this whole evening of Asian American arts and activism is really about lifting up that community voice, to demonstrate our power, to hold leadership accountable, and to put folks like us who understand our community's issues, our families' issues at the table, so that we can begin to bend that moral arc of justice. And now I would like to welcome Michelle Hanabusa from We Are Uprisers, someone who's doing some disruptive things in a couple of different areas, including fashion. I mean, one of the things that we love doing at the Slants Foundation is highlighting the work of others that are providing a bold portrayal, a bold view, a bold slant, if you will, on our community's issues and things related to our identity. So Michelle, can you share with our viewers a little bit about We Are Uprisers? Like, what's that about? And, you've been doing a lot of really cool projects. What's some of the stuff you're most proud of so far?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Simon, for bringing me on. It's been an honor, and I love seeing just familiar faces. Minji, Jason, what's up? So yeah, thank you for having me. And just to give you a little bit of background about what We Are Uprisers is, we are a community-driven streetwear brand, and we focus on collaborating with organizations, brands, individuals, including artists and creators, to really tell a story and amplify their voices through fashion and design. And it's something that we always say as a team is what you wear is what you represent. And so using fashion, it's a really great just like visual form of just showing, messages that you want to share with the world. And so some of the projects that we were really excited about, what we have been recently working on, is a 2020 census. And it was a 2-month campaign with my good friend, Hollis Wongware. She's also a singer, songwriter. If y'all don't know who she is, she's great. You should go check her out. But we had a series of just virtual conversations and also a finale event called Uprisers Live at Home, where we showcased a diverse group of artists to really talk about why the 2020 census is so important, why it's so important for our communities to be counted, but then also to talk about these messages that may not be the most sexiest thing to talk about, but how can we kind of present it to our audience in such a fun and engaging way.
One of the projects you also did this year related around the use of masks. And because, we saw what was happening. We saw what was happening with certain people in positions of power calling this thing a Chinese flu, or using some racist terminology to describe what was happening to the entire world. And you provided a provocative and wonderful response. Can you share a little bit about that and why you did that, and how you think that ties in with this whole idea of having an APIA voice?
Sure, absolutely. So Hate Is a Virus, it was really a grassroots movement, and it actually started locally here in Los Angeles. And, once all of our confirmed events and whatnot were just canceled for the rest of the year, my team and I just kind of sat down to brainstorm and just talk about what's something just immediate that we can do locally just to help out our API community, the small businesses that we were starting to see affected by the pandemic. And this is right before the lockdown, but we just started a food crawl called Hate Is a Virus. And we were able to go to one and support a local small business in Koreatown. And then 2 days later, lockdown happened. So, we quickly had to pivot and kind of take this Hate Is a Virus concept out into the digital world. And that's where I was able to connect with Brian Pham from Asian Hustle Network and Tammy Cho, who is the founder of Better Brave. And so the three of us got together, just brainstormed even more. And this is really the start of what the grassroots movement is now today. And so we are now operating as a nonprofit, 501c3, and our team has grown to over 16 volunteer members. So it's just been quite a journey. So many things that we've just learned along the way. How can we, mobilize and activate our API community, in terms of Black Lives Matter and just various other conversations that need to be had.
And speaking of mobilizing our community, you've got a bunch of new products on the line that speak specifically to this election. Really cool, clever, brilliantly designed work about our community going out and voting. So where can folks go and learn more about what's coming up in terms of design that you have now and what's coming on the horizon?
Yeah, so you can check out weareuprisers.com. We are about to release our Vote t-shirt in partnership with I Am a Voter. And so they are a nonpartisan organization who is really focused on just really activating all the different communities to just go out and vote and use our voice to make a difference for the future. So we have slowly started to tease that. We will be releasing it officially tomorrow, but it is live on the site. So go check it out, weareuprisers.com, or you can also follow us on Instagram. We are doing a SMS texting type of thing so that we can continue to encourage you just as reminders and updates surrounding the election. election cycle. And so you could just text us at Uprisers Vote to 900-900, and we're going to be sending you like fun memes and just a really fun way to kind of get into the spirit of voting.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our community. So we really appreciate having you on. And again, please, folks, go to weareuprisers.com, check out what they're doing. And now we would love to welcome to the APIA Voice stage Priska, a singer-songwriter who just has these incredibly smooth, beautiful vocals that I think you are going to absolutely love. She kills it. So please give it up for Priska.
What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for having me. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. These are some crazy, crazy times. And I'm just excited to be able to be doing some music. And I know that the world is basically literally on fire if you live in California like I do. But I'm out here in Joshua Tree. And the other night I went out to Pappy and Harriet's, which was all outdoors and sanitized, but they did have a steel guitar player who was not singing, you know, because public singing is not the business right now. But as he started playing, tears just came down my face, like uncontrollable tears. And I think it's just because it unlocked something in me of all the things that we've lost during this time. And also it gave me so much hope because it made me realize like the world is still out there, like art is still out there, you know? And so hopefully we can just connect together. This is a song I wrote. This is called Don't Go Quietly. And I wrote it actually during the last election, just to kind of promote the importance of the Asian American vote. And I mean, that's even more true today. And I'm super excited to share some songs with you guys. So thanks, Simon, for having me. This is called Don't Go Quietly. Speak up now and tell them your tales. The shadows can't silence the sound. Stand up, dear, let them see your face. Speak up now, you've something to say. Ooh, and tell them the truth about what you've seen on the way from Galilee. Tell them the truth about what you've seen. And don't go quietly into the night, into the night, and move faster and quicken the pace. And thereafter, the words you won't say, and tread loudly, be sure they can hear. Speak up now so they don't go astray. Ooh, and tell them the truth about what you've seen on the way from Galilee. Tell them the truth about what you've seen. into the night. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you guys. All right, I'm gonna do one more song for you guys. This is a song I was living up in Ashland, Oregon last year, and it was my first time really kind of understanding isolation and what it was like to kind of be shut off from the world. And I think we're all in that place now where we've been dealing with complete, utter isolation. Sorry, I'm gonna drink some water. But it's in those times, I think friends can be comforting and they can say, oh, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be fine. But the fact is, we don't know what's coming. And I think sometimes it's okay to sit in that. You know, it's okay to accept that and be okay with not being okay, which I think is a Korean drama. I'm not advocating that Korean drama per se, but this is a song called Chasm. And who the hell am I to tell you with a sigh that it'll be alright? It came without a sound and suddenly surrounds every fiber of my being. Only a chasm next to me. Can I catch you by the teeth and pull you in for keeps? Hide you from the gods? Are you in the clouds or are you in the shroud? Covered head to feet. Only a chasm next to me. To colors blue, an ache that won't conclude. All happiness was you. I'll learn to laugh again, but now it feels a sin. My smiles are laced with lead. Only a chasm next to me. Only a chasm next to me. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for having me, Simon.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight for this event. And so I'm hoping if you can share a little bit personally, like what does the election mean to you? Like what does this idea of having a voice for our community mean? And, you know, as an artist, as someone who has an amazing voice, clearly, like what does that mean for that figurative voice for Asian Americans to rise up?
You know, I think for a very long time, especially when I was young, I just expected Asians not to have a voice. And I think that led to me kind of honestly being pretty apathetic for a very long time. But the thing is, like, we have to make our voices heard. We have to have our experiences seen and heard because it enriches the human experience. It enriches the human tapestry. And also we have a population that can make change if we kind of join together and overcome this kind of generalized apathy that we often share. We can make a big change. And so I think that's why it means so much to me. And I recently started a podcast called Two Horny Goats, and I did so because it just felt like differing Asian American voices aren't heard enough. And even if they're out there, they're not brought to the fore, and they're not, they don't get the publicity that they deserve. And I think all of us joining together, like, we can really affect change. And so I think that's why it means so much to me.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the podcast as well. I mean, I this idea of like, we need more of our voices really resonates with me, because
Yeah.
I think, hidden in that kind of acronym of APIA, or sometimes people use AAPI, or sometimes API or AA, like we got
So many
acronyms galore, but
Mhm.
what that actually means is that there are nearly 100 different ethnicities, completely different languages, cultures, foods. Like, we are such a robust and diverse community that sometimes gets lumped together. I mean, that's kind of what happened to us in the 60s. That the birth of the Asian American movement was in this idea that we're like, you know what, if you're all going to treat us all the same anyway, think we're all the same, then we're going to use our collective voice to start making a change for things. So, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your art with us. So for folks who are interested in following you, what are some of the best places to check out some of the work you're doing?
Oh yeah, come find me on Instagram. I'm at Priska Music. That's Priska with a K, music with a K. And you can find my music on Spotify. Please drop by and say hi. It's so important for us to kind of stay connected. And absolutely right, like, we are not a monolith, and the more we can share our explicit, unique corner of the world, the more enriched the human tapestry is going to be. So please do that. And also, I co-host a podcast called Two Horny Goats with my friend Roxy. Take a listen if you can. It's really about not fitting into that stereotypical Asian mold, and that being okay, and kind of like breaking open that mold is going to be more freeing for all of us. So come join our conversation.
Well, thank you so much for your work. Thank you for helping break the mold, and being another voice, another face in the music industry. So we so appreciate what you're doing. And to also kind of reiterate that Michelle from We Are Uprisers, who came on before you, for folks who are interested in joining their movement, please text Uprisers Vote to 900-900. So thank you again, Priska, for joining us. Now we have a special word from State Representative, or from Congressman Andy Kim.
Hi, everyone. This is Congressman Andy Kim from New Jersey. I just wanted to encourage all of you to make sure that you're participating and getting your census forms back. You're registering to vote, and you're getting out there to vote before November 3rd. It's so important for us to have our voices heard, to have a seat at the table, and make sure that we can have our voices in the room when we're trying to have some of the toughest and most important debates in our country. Thanks so much.
And again, thank you for joining us for this event, APIA Voice, an evening of arts and activism. And as you know, we're partnering with Asian Services Ohio to put this event on. Our organization, the Slants Foundation, is a nonprofit that is dedicated to providing scholarships and mentorship to other artists and who want to incorporate community activism to their work. And one of my fellow board members, a person who I've just been a huge fan of his work for the longest time, is here to share a song with us. So please check out this incredible song from Bao, who also has a forthcoming album that you should definitely check out.
Hey y'all, my name is Bao, and I'm gonna play you a song called No Filter. You're not perfect. Who'd wanna be with this? And no, you don't deserve this. Worth what is worthless. Whoa, 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 whoa. Love hurts. I see you through the lines. Lose you in the night and days. I love you all the time with no filter. Yeah, I see you through the lies. hits your face and it burns like shame. And it feels so exhausted, holding your hair back, you're digging your nails and you're cursing my name. Whoa, 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 whoa. Love hurts, I see you through the lights. With no filter, I lose you in the night and days. I love you all the time. With no filter, yeah, I see you through the lights. I love you more than I had anybody. Trust me, baby. But you'll never know me that way till you learn to love yourself. I see you through the lights. With no filter, I lose you in the night and days. I love you all the time. No filter, yeah, I see you through the lights. See you through the lights. No filter, I lose you in the night and days. I love you all the time. No filter, yeah, I see you through the lights. That's called No Filter. It's the first single off of my forthcoming album called Perpetual Heartbreak, which you can find at perpetualheartbreak.com. Again, my name is Bao, and thanks for listening. See ya. Thanks, Bao from the recent past. Hey, I'm Bao from right now. I'm a songwriter and producer here in Los Angeles, and I'm also a first-generation immigrant from Vietnam, which is why being one of the founding members on the Slants Foundation has been really important and a real honor for me. So like I said, I've got that record coming out called Perpetual Heartbreak, and it covers a lot of topics that the Asian American community is relevant to, including interpersonal relationships and community, cultural identity, and like that last song, mental health. And so I feel like it's really important for our voices to be heard, not only through our art, but through our action and activism. So I've got a couple of quick stats for you to reinforce tonight's message about the power of the Asian American community in terms of our vote. So we are the fastest growing population in the US. In the last 3 presidential elections, roughly 620,000 API votes became to vote. That makes up about 5% of the state's electorate. Well, all the state's electorates, including Nevada, Virginia, California, some really important places. Today, about a quarter of congressional districts have more than 5% AAPI residents. That means, I think 600 cities and municipalities have more than 5% AAPI population. And like Simon said earlier, we could easily swing a quarter of our nation's congressional seats with our vote. We are a big deal. And I think representation definitely matters. So we are starting to see a lot more Asian Americans take elected office, and because of our community's action and actively making change happen through voting and through speaking out, through educating ourselves. And we're seeing more culturally competent laws being enforced and passed to make things more fair for communities like us and other underrepresented communities. So there's still a lot of work for us to do, and we really need to make our voices heard. So here's how. If you go to
theslants.org/voice, like you went to view this stream probably, you're going to see a couple of resources that our team put together for you to give you the information that you need to, 1, register to vote, basic, right? 2, learn about all the issues up and down the ballot, especially down to your zip code. And then 3, if you need to, we'll show you how to request a mail-in ballot so that you can stay safe during the pandemic. In addition to that, I really want to ask you a favor to, once you take care of all of that for yourself, to help educate people around you, especially elders and new voters who might not have the best information, especially with all the stuff going around on social media. We really need to help others understand what's real and what's not, what's important and what's not. So that is why we're here, and I thank you for attending this event. We've got some awesome music coming up from an artist called Darrow, and coming up I want to introduce Darrow, but he's got a really amazing story about rediscovering his voice. So 3 days after coming back to the US from grad school abroad, Darrow was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And talk about big deal, right? The rehabilitation process sent him back to square one in terms of having to learn to speak, to eat, and to sing all over again. And that is a big deal to overcome as an artist and a musician. He's got a forthcoming release called Songs of Recovery, which shares some of the stories from that incredible journey of his, and he'll probably play some music from there. So for the past 6 months, Darrow has been part of a program that the Slants Foundation put together called the DIY Musician Accelerator Program. And that allows him to get mentorship from our board members, including Simon Tam, the amazing Simon Tam. And so we'll talk to Darrow after his set, but right now, please welcome Darrow to the APIA Voice stage.
How's it going?
You're on, buddy.
All right, we're just gonna start with music and then save all the talking for afterward, before I lose my voice. Thank you, Bao, and thank you, Simon and the Slants, for having us. And we're gonna play 2 songs off of Songs of Recovery. This first one is called Undefined. Thank you. Okay, so we do have one more. And bear with me, I have to change my guitar.
And while Darrow is changing his guitar, I just wanted to remind folks that you can take action right now by going to the slants.org/vote so that you can take the census, so that you can register to vote and to request your absentee ballot as soon as possible to make sure that your voice is heard in this upcoming election. This is been a wonderful evening, and we've been so grateful for all of the artists, the elected officials, the actresses who have joined us, and the authors, Edlin. I mean, it's just been such a wonderful opportunity to serve our community. If you're interested in more of the kinds of work that the Slants Foundation does, you can just go to the slants.org. We've got all kinds of programs there. Our annual Troublemaker Scholarship, which funds unconventional works of art. Our Countering Hate with Art program, which funds artists during COVID to help create works of art that address Asian American racism and discrimination. And of course, programs like APIA Voice tonight. We also have an upcoming program. We're going to be starting a new artist think tank. So if you are an artist and you are looking for mentorship in your career, if you're looking for a support network, a group that you can rely on to help you answer the questions of what's happening out there, to share best practices, or if maybe you have some best practices and some information you learned in your experience and you want to share it with other folks, please contact us so that you can be a part of this upcoming event. And of course, if you are interested in supporting this kind of work, just go to the slants.org. You can donate, you can volunteer. Thank you so much. And it looks like Darrow is ready to go. Yeah, got a thumbs up. So
I can attest to mentorship from Simon. It's worth it. Please apply. All right. So this next song is called You're Not Insane. And this is one that I released a music video for last year. And this one kind of has a comedic spin on the way that I dealt with my brain tumor. One of the things that I often deal with when I talk to people about my brain tumor, they're just like, wow, you look so fine, you look great. Like, you don't have any scars on your head or anything. And I'm just like, yeah, I know it's like kind of crazy that I look fine, but like on the inside, I'm probably all messed up. So it's just a song that really talks about how like appearances are really not all they seem.
Self-esteem, and in time I rebuilt my self-esteem, living life thinking they were all like me. But I woke up, turns out it was all a dream. In my face, people scream their empathies. You're okay, you're not insane. It's just the voices pulling you back in. We're all this way, blinded dismay, counting the moments where we all fit from where we came. People change, but they've always been the same. Hiding pain, just so they can play this game. Here's my face, here's my fake reality. And all around, I just
That was awesome, you guys.
Thank you. How did it sound? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, it sounded great.
All right,
For a
cool.
bit?
Can I put my guitar down and then let's talk?
That was great, Darrow.
Thank you.
Really well written songs. I'm really looking forward to your record. We got a few minutes, and I want to give the audience a chance to get to know you a little better because you have been part of the mentorship program. And well, first of all, how do you feel about the experience of being a part of this event where we're focusing on elections and the census and awareness and action?
Well, it's a little mixed, not mixed as in a bad way. It's like part of me is like really proud that I'm doing this. That like I'm proud to be representing Asian Americans, and trying to raise our voice when it comes to registering to vote and getting more people out to the polls. But then I also feel kind of bad because I feel like I haven't done my due diligence with my own family, and it's a little tough because. And I'm sure, like for most Asian Americans that are like within my generation, I'm a first generation Asian American. My parents are complete immigrants. They emigrated from Cambodia in the 70s, and they have almost zero awareness of like the political climate here in the United States. And it's just such a high lift for me to explain to them what things are going on here in this country. Because there's so much background information that they're missing for them to even like grasp certain things, They know the word vote, but they don't quite understand what that means. They don't quite understand the process of, electoral colleges and how every state has a certain amount. And so like for them, it's just a simple thing as like voting and then somebody wins. But there's so much more behind that. And so explaining that to them is tough. And I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's a big hurdle for a lot of us. And I think one step at a time. And it's definitely something that should not fall off our radars ever as people who have the ability and the access to information and this type of knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I have the same issue with my mother who's, we're first generation immigrants as well. So I just take it one step at a time with her to tell her what's important and how it affects her as well as the larger community.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I've been making progress, especially with my mom. My mom calls me like 6 times a day. So like, every like 5 minutes, I plug a little bit of like, here's like what's actually happening and here's how it affects you. The issue that I have with my mom is that like she's like not stuck, but she's kind of like used to things being a certain way, and she. I don't want to say she refuses to adapt, but she's slow to adapt to new things.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a bit of a language barrier for anything that she does, but she'll listen to me and she'll start to understand things. And when I explain it to her in like ways that she can understand, so me and my mom sort of like speak this broken English Cambodian. I speak to her in like broken English Cambodian in a mixture so ways she can understand. And my dad is way better at English. He's been around longer and he's much more educated. But that also makes him more stubborn. And so I love my dad to death. So sometimes he'll just say things. I'm like, where are you getting this information? He'll show me on Facebook. And I'll just like, that's not a good source of information. Like that's just a meme. That's literally a meme. And this is coming from the same person who like builds houses on his own. So it's like it's crazy like how capable he is on his own, but then when it comes to things like politics, it's just he's like in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thank you for sharing that story because that's exactly what I was saying earlier about it's our job to also educate people around us who might not have access to good information.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. How's it been to be part of our the Slants Foundation's mentorship program, and how do you think that you've grown from that?
I feel like I've gotten a VIP pass to like to just the music business, at least like at my level, like I feel like half of the things, actually like 80% of the things that's happened to me this year, it's kind of weird to say, but during COVID, I've like progressed in my career way more than I ever had before. And part of it was because of COVID, and most of it was because of Simon and the Slants Foundation and the DIY Accelerator Program. And so, like, I mean, this year we got an endorsement deal with Fender, which was like insane. And I have to like stop myself from buying guitars every day. You know, and like, you know, our social media following exploded. And a lot of the things that we did just was born out of the circumstance. Like we started doing this quarantine like cover videos in our apartment, and we just like started cooking in the background just for fun. And those are things that would have never happened if COVID didn't, like we would have never come up with that if we weren't stuck in our apartments during quarantine. And like Simon was like, that's a great idea, capitalize on that. And so we did.
That's wonderful. Congratulations on that. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your album, your
Thank
record.
you.
If I can get a sneak peek, that'd be awesome too.
I will absolutely. I just finished mixing another song today, actually.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Dara. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, everyone.
So you guys remember, if you want to support artists like Darrow and everybody else who's going to benefit from the Slants Foundation's mentorship programs, you can go to theslants.org/donate and send us a couple bucks. All of that money goes toward, you know, artists like Darrow, and it helps us keep inspiring and benefiting young talent. So we've got another performer coming up, and I want to introduce you guys. And well, you won't get introduced until after they play, but I want to share a song and a special message from a Nepalese band called Manda. So
Kota Namaste to all of you. We are a Nepali band here in Portland, Oregon. We call ourselves Manda, and we just shared with you a song that we learned from our teachers from back home in Nepal. Hope you enjoyed it. So let me just quickly introduce the band. We're really the band of cousins, and we have a guest member, Randall Cronwall, who's not here, but Vikram Vaidya, who is also a chef and playing the drums. Prajanna Tuladar, who's on bass and is an accountant in other life. Manoj Kansakad, he's our lead guitarist and soloist, all of that stuff. And he's also a physicist. And I myself, I'm on the keyboard and I sing. My name is Gauri Vajpayee. And I'm a designer in another life. But most importantly, we are here to make sure that you remember to vote this year. 2020 election is very, very important. And so make sure that if you haven't registered, make sure you register and make sure they have the right address for you so they can mail in your ballot and all of that stuff. If you don't know what you need to do, please make sure you find out what all the things you need to do to get your vote counted. All elections are important, but as we all know, this particular year, the election is absolutely critical. And whether you vote Republican or Democrat, we just need you to vote. And I know a lot of us Nepalese American communities, we tend to kind of sometimes forget or this or that, but let's not do that this year. It's a critical year. And so with that, from all our band and our band member who's missing, Randall Cronwall, we all want to say thank you.
That was such good vibes. I must say that was the first Nepalese band I've ever seen, and that was awesome. Hope you guys liked that, Manda. So for those of you who are still here, tuned in till the late night hours, thank you so much for attending this event. I want to turn it over to Simon to close it out along with the rest of my fellow board members.
Thank you, Bao. And I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. A lot of times we hear this word opportunity, like here's an opportunity to get counted. Here's an opportunity to vote. And sometimes you hear the phrase opportunity is knocking. And I think what ends up happening is people just assume that, when you go for an opportunity, it's about yourself. But tonight you have an opportunity to do something greater than that, and that's to serve the community. This event wouldn't be possible without several of the folks that you see on screen now, and then some of those who weren't able to join us for this live stream, and that would be my fellow board members at the Slants Foundation. Joe chose to represent himself using as a cat with a little icon.
Let's not go any further. The most important thing here is, we got to say this, everybody, we've been texting about this behind the scenes. This event wouldn't have happened without Simon. I mean, literally, Simon is the captain of the ship. He's the pilot of the plane. He's the conductor of the train. He's all of the above and more. So, I mean, literally, if there is a big thank you to go to somebody right this moment, it needs to go to Simon and then everybody else. But Simon, thank you so much.
Simon.
Well, this is not a ship of one or a plane of one or whatever other modes of transportation of one. This is certainly something that's a part of our community. And of course, we couldn't have done this event without all of the amazing performers that appear tonight, including Jess and Ken Island, as you can see there. Thank you for tuning in, for watching. And just a reminder to folks that, this event is not just to celebrate and to enjoy Asian American arts and activism, but it's about expressing your voice, even those who are not in the Asian American community, by, voting, by making sure you're getting counted for the census. So thank you for joining us for tonight. We have one final song, and that's of course one being shared by me and my fellow band members Joe and Ken, otherwise known as the Slants, the band that was kind of the starting behind the scenes entity for the Slants Foundation. And please enjoy this song, Fight Back, and I hope you have a great night.
Ghostly hands in abandoned rooms. Where's the charge? This hollow march faked you out in fits and starts. Don't let the words dissuade. Don't let the text prevail. Don't let the weakness of others infect your health. Don't be their alibi. Don't feed their greedy mouth. If it's time, then it's now. Stand up tall and fight back rather than just sit back. Claw your way through the feedback. Don't get caught in that. Don't get caught in that. Just react. Heart and mind remain intact. Tooth and nail will not retract. Lead the pack, cause it's your time now. Your time now. Look within a broken piece. You create what you wanna see. Shuttered minds, shuttered eyes. Can't see, can't feel inside. Don't let the words dissuade. Don't let the text prevail. Don't let the weakness of others infect your health. Don't be their alibi. Don't feed their greedy mouth. It's time, then it's now. Stand up tall and fight back rather than just sit back. Claw your way through the feedback. Don't get caught in that, don't get caught in that. Just react, heart and mind remain intact. Tooth and nail will not retract. Lead the pack, cause it's your time now. Your time now. Fight back rather than just sit back. Claw your way through the feedback. Don't get caught in that, don't get caught in that. Just react, heart and mind remain intact. Tooth and nail will not retract. Lead the pack, cause it's your time now. Your time now.